So hi everyone. Today we'll try to understand a very complex problem in MySQL, that is to calculate moving average using SQL query. So moving average is nothing but a windowed function. Basically, you wish to calculate average or like sum for a given time period for different timestamps. For example, if you see in this example, it is some restaurant table where the person name is present, the visit date and amount is present. Now in this particular query, if you look into this, write a SQL query to compute the moving average of how the customer paid in 7 days window, right? So if you look into this, and then this is the expected output. So for a window that ended on 7th of Jan 2019, we need to consider 7 days before that till first, and then take an average of all these amounts. Similarly, when you are standing on 8th, you need to consider the 7 days back to 8, that is second. Similarly for ninth also, the same would get repeated. You need to consider average from third to ninth. So this is called as a moving average. So I have already covered what is moving average in one of my videos. You can check that out in time series. This time we will try to calculate moving average using SQL query. It is one of the most interesting questions that you might face in your interviews as well. So we will try to calculate moving average using SQL query now. So first of all, we'll try to understand the query that has been written, starting off with the subquery. So in this particular subquery, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to join. We are trying to go for a self join. A self join is basically joining the table with itself only. Self join such that given the condition. So usually while you're joining, if you on normal joins, you go with an equal to condition, right? On a dot id equals to b dot id. Here I have taken both customer table as a, and the second alias as customer as b. But in this case we won't be doing that. We have provided a very special condition, data diff b dot visited on comma a dot visited on less than 7, and it has to be greater than 0. So what does this mean? Date diff helps us to calculate the number of days of difference between two days, two dates. So in this case we are trying to join the table that fulfills two conditions, where a dot visit date and b dot visit date have a difference of less than 7, and they have a difference of greater than 0 also. This has been done to avoid negative cases. So it can be the case that when you are subtracting b dot visit date, for example, 1st of Jan, because we are going for a self join, right? So all the cases we need to consider, comma a dot visit on, it might be 10th, so the value would become -9. So in this, the first condition gets fulfilled. That is why we need to get both the conditions. The difference has to be less than 7 but greater than or equal to 0. So depending upon that, we are doing a self join. Once we do this self join, we would be able to get all the amounts respective to that particular window for a particular date, right? Now, once we are able to do this, the next part is a bit difficult, a bit tricky to understand. So the first step was that we are doing a self join on the special condition. The next part we are doing is that we are taking the results of the subquery and doing a group by over the current date. Current date is basically a dot visit date. If you're tracing back from the previous from the subquery itself, we are doing group by, and in the group by, what we are doing, we are calculating the max window date. So if you are standing at 1, and we have already joined with the window day, so the max window day would be 7, right? Some total amount spent in that particular window, and the round sum amount divided by 7 comma 2, because this is mentioned that on every day in this particular query there is a visit, and hence they have mentioned a special method of calculating the average. So this is the method they are calculating that is I have use a hard coded 7 here as an average amount, having date diff max window date comma current date equal to 6. Now why this has been done? Because there might be cases that we get a bigger window, so we get a lesser window. So for example, if you see in the output, we have dates from 1 to 10th, and in the output we are having dates from 7, 8, 9, 10th. Now if you consider this particular date, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 5th and 6th specifically, so you will understand that these dates are not completing their windows. You can't complete their windows because the window size would be less than 7. So if date of 11th of January would have been present, then the window would have completed. But right now in this data, the window is not complete. Hence, we would be ignoring all the dates whose windows are not getting completed. So the windows are getting completed for first, second, third, and fourth. That is 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Right, we will be ignoring fifth and sixth. So that is why this having condition has been mentioned. Date if max window date, comma current date equal to 6. So in this particular case, in the subquery, when we would have gone for a self join with this condition, we would have got this also. Fifth, the window, there would be a window with a starting date at fifth and ending date at 10th, right? So, in case to avoid those cases, we have put this condition so that the difference between should be equal to 6. Hence, the window is complete. Else, the results are ignored. Hence, if we run this query, our case has been accepted. So whatever was expected, we have got all the results, right? So if summarizing the whole query, we are first of all going for a self join depending upon a special condition where the visit date should be the difference between the two visit dates should be greater than 0 and less than 7. Now after that, we are taking the current date, and then eventually we're calculating all the statistics required, and then we have put a condition for date diff so that we can ignore all the windows which are not completed yet. Yeah, this is how you can calculate moving average using SQL.